Welcome to another edition of Meet the Metapreneur. I have with me today Ashumi. She's the founder of Mad Global and she's joining us from London. Welcome to the show, Ashumi.
Thank you so much, Sharad, for having me on this show.
No, absolutely, it's a pleasure. And I'd like you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Hi, so again, as Sharad mentioned, I'm Ashumi. I am the CEO and founder of Mad Global. Under Mad Global, we have two companies. We have Mad Productions, which was founded actually 13 years ago. And we have been producing omni-channel content for specifically fashion, luxury, beauty, and lifestyle clients. Global ad campaigns, stills, moving image, digital content, film, advertisements. And then on the other side, we have XR, Mad XR, where we produce augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D, as well as NFTs under the umbrella of bringing projects to life, of course, in the metaverse.
I'm curious to know how you got into this space.
So Mad was actually founded as an organic evolution of where I was at. I started my career in publishing and on the media side of things at Condé Nast International. And since then, I worked at in many different roles across the e-com, the luxury and the fashion landscape, all the way from the British Fashion Council to Net-a-Porter when they were just launching The Edit, their online shoppable magazine. And it was kind of a natural evolution of, having very good relationships with photographers and with stylists. And, initially it was a lot of my friends who were very close friends of mine who were photographers shooting campaigns, asking me to just, arrange their photo shoots for them or, find them a really great location or, sort of just help them along their shoot process. And that sort of snowballed into what Mad Productions is today.
So how many years are you in business now?
So in total, 15 years.
Well, that's amazing. I'm sure there have been a lot of learnings along the way. And I'm going to ask you that a bit later. But before that, again, I'm curious to know what a typical day is in the life of Ashumi.
So I don't think there is a typical day, actually. I think, all of the projects, especially now in the Web3 space, are so different, so very different from each other. I think what's quite unique about us on what we do in the XR and the Metaverse and NFT space is that we really sort of form that red thread across the creative with the technology, forming that gap because the technology is very nuanced. A lot of times we do a lot of consulting and advisory to start before we actually execute along the way on different projects. So there is really no one size fits all, where we're not a cookie cutter sort of company. We really are very bespoke and developed in how we approach projects from a very holistic sort of standpoint. And there is no typical day.
Right, cool. So I want to talk a little bit about Web3 because, as I shared with you earlier, I'm a Web 1 guy. I got into the digital space way back in 1996, and then came Web 2 and now Web 3. So it's quite a transition, right, in terms of the technology, in terms of decentralization, in terms of collaborations that are happening. So from your point of view, who are you looking to collaborate with in this space? Is it the designers, the architects, the programmers, the marketeers, the community builders?
I think all the way through. I think for me, collaboration, I think Web3 is not just a shift. Not only are we at almost the precipice of a digital renaissance and a creative renaissance, I think it's also really a mindset shift in how we are approaching and how we approach business. I think it's really shifting from the I mentality to the we mentality. And that's really at the heart of everything that we do at Mad. I think collaborating and forming alliances with people who really are at the best at what they do in such a nuanced, very fast moving, rapidly evolving ecosystem is what's going to sort of define who ends up being a front runner in this space, and collaborating with people along the way is really going to define that. So we don't really have any, I guess, preconceived ideas of who we collaborate with in this space. It is across the full spectrum of right from the developers right through the community builders.
Absolutely. And I think these are exciting times because as I tell everybody, Metaverse is being built at the speed of thought and things are moving very fast. Unlike the old internet, this is Internet 2.0, right? On steroids, basically. And yeah, so my other question to you is, one of the reasons I host this show is to help newbies and entrepreneurs who are getting into the metaverse space for the first time. So based on your learnings of last 15 years and more recently in the meta space, can you give 2 pieces of advice to young entrepreneurs who are getting in the space for the first time?
I think stay curious and be very open to learn. I think the Web3 community is one of the most knowledge sharing communities that I have been a part of. It's so important to connect IRL as well. I think we're sort of coming out of quarantines and clubhouse days. And I think we've really, have started to understand the value of IRL meetups and friendships. I think find what's happening in your local areas, in your local communities, find meetups, and don't be afraid to just go and meet people. That is how I started, by just connecting with people who were open enough to share their stories and their journeys with me. And along the way, I'm doing the same with other people. And that's how we're sort of onboarding more people into the space. And that's, I would say, one of the key things, just to stay open and to stay curious and to keep learning. And that's how we're going to keep building.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because in my life also, I think in the last 4 or 5 months, I've met the best people so far ever, and largely on Zoom meetings. And we are trying to meet people in real life as well. But I think future of work clearly is hybrid going forward. And a lot of meetings are also going to be happening in the metaverse. And there are quite a few platforms that have come up in this space. So yeah, exciting times. I'm happy I connected with you, Ashumi, and thank you for joining me in this conversation. And I'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sharad, for having me on the show. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye.